You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 12th day of May, 2026. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast is our live training room. So to get in there, you got to be a member or taking the 1-week free trial. This broadcast, on the other hand, is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways you can join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, you'll get an email about an hour before the broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you got to do is click the link in the email, and it automatically logs you into our platform. The benefit of doing it that way is you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And some days you'll be busy, so you can't join live, but you want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since 2005. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 3,000 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And if you're new to our neck of the woods, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more, a lot more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, nor do you need to, but it is a great resource to have at your fingertips because it allows you to see how we've evolved over all these years, day by day by day. youtube.com/CFRN. On the left side of the screen is our schedule for each afternoon broadcast. At the top of the hour, 1 p.m. Eastern, Michael will join us for a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning, and then do a little live trading as time and the markets permit. Right now, we'll head into our daily devotional, which is where we start each and every afternoon broadcast. The topic we're on right now is everyday faith. Today's scripture is Hebrews 11:13. I'm going to share it with you from the NIV translation. All these people were still living by faith when they died. They did not receive the things promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance, admitting that they were foreigners and strangers on earth. Again, that's Hebrews 11:13. Not every promise is fulfilled within the time frame you expect. Hebrews speak of men and women who trusted God without seeing the full outcome. They believed what had been spoken even when fulfillment remained distant. Faith sometimes holds what it does not yet see. Or as it says in 2 Corinthians 5:7, we walk by faith, not by sight. That is not weakness, that is endurance. Trusting God fully often costs more than we admit. It means trusting Him beyond what your experience confirms, beyond what your logic can calculate, beyond what your instincts insist must be true. When Peter stepped out of the boat, the water did not suddenly become solid. The wind did not immediately cease. Everything visible suggested risk. Yet for a moment, his focus overruled his senses. His trust rested not in what he understood, but in the one who called him. That's in Matthew 14:29 and 30. Faith is not a denial of reality. It is confidence in Christ above it. You are part of a story larger than your lifetime. Not every promise will unfold according to your schedule. Not every outcome will be visible in your generation. But faithfulness is never wasted. Stay steady inside the chapter you've been given. Here's a question to meditate on. Where are you walking primarily by what you can see rather than entrusting what you can't see to God? Let's pray. Heavenly Father, keep us faithful even while fulfillment is still ahead. Teach us all to walk by faith and not by sight. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. Amen and happy Tuesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Currently the Dow is down 209 points. NASDAQ is down 431, over 1.5%. S&P 500 is down 65, almost 1%. And the Russell 2000 is down 64 points. That's almost 2.25 points, or 2.25% for the Russell. Now, I'm not going to say I told you so. That would just be silly. But I did. Now, so far, it's just a little retracement. We'll see it when we go to the charts. But this is an indication of things to come. And I know some people are just calling it Turnaround Tuesday. Okay. In the commodity basket, crude oil is up again, $3.42. Trading 101.49 last. That's a gain of 3.5%. Gold is down 56 bucks, trading 46.72 last. That's a drop of almost 1.25%. Silver down $1.19, trading 84.75 last. That's a drop of almost 1.5%. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei gained 324 points. Shanghai fell 10. Hang Seng down 58. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 4. The DAX down 375, over 1.5%. The CAC down 76, almost 1%. So that gave us a mixed day in Asia. In fact, that's the only green on the screen is the Nikkei. It was a red day for the UK, and it's a big red Radio Tuesday here in the US of A. Let's check out the news. Researchers are due to present a report today finding that a single infusion of HIV-fighting molecules could suppress the incurable virus to undetectable levels. Modeled after a treatment for leukemia, the approach could mark the closest researchers have come to a one-and-done treatment for the disease. But it still remains years away from being available, from widespread availability. The 70th Eurovision Song Contest begins today in Vienna, Austria. This event is among the most watched live entertainment broadcasts, drawing 166 million viewers last year. Now the world's longest-running annual global TV music competition, Eurovision, began in 1956 as a post-World War II effort to unite Europe through live TV broadcasting, with 7 countries and 14 songs. Today it features countries across Europe and some outside the continent, including Australia and Israel. The contest has evolved into a mix of pop spectacle, national identity, and over-the-top theatrical performances, launching the international careers of stars like ABBA and Celine Dion. The event has drawn renewed political scrutiny over Israel's participation amid the war in Gaza. Iceland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Slovenia, and Spain have withdrawn from the competition in protest. Meanwhile, a new report alleges Israel sought to influence voting in recent years as part of a broader public diplomacy effort. Where do they come up with this garbage? And why do I bother sharing it? That's the bigger question. U.S. consumer prices continued their rapid ascent in April as the war in Iran pressured global fuel and food costs. That's according to the government data we got this morning. The CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, for April showed prices were 3.8% higher than a year ago, the largest annual increase in 3 years, and up 0.6% on a monthly basis, largely due to soaring energy costs. Economists had expected a rise of 3.7% from last April, according to a Bloomberg survey, and a 0.6% increase from March, which itself saw the largest monthly gain since 2022. Stripping out the more volatile energy and food categories, prices on a core basis also ticked up more than expected, rising 2.8% in April from a year ago and 0.4% from the month prior. There is an upward trajectory in inflation that hasn't shown signs of turning yet. That's the key message. This is painful for Americans, especially moderate income households, but it is a small price to pay for a non-nuclear Iran. Just suck it up and deal with it. As mentioned, oil prices rising again today as tensions remain inflamed in the U.S. after President Trump said the ceasefire agreement between the countries was on life support. The Strait of Hormuz remains essentially closed to traffic, further pressuring global inventories. Now, Trump has also said that when this whole Iran business is over, and I don't understand why it isn't already over, he said the price of crude and gas are going to drop like a rock. I can only surmise that he is waiting for this meeting with President Xi before he finishes the job in Iran. I mean, what other possible reason could there be? Now, it's rumored that China is supplying Iran with weapons via the Caspian Sea. And I think Trump wants to talk to Xi about this and determine whether or not he can put a stop to it. We'll keep you updated on that. Wall Street is flashing signs of a stock market melt-up. Well, not so much today. Or a rapid and unexpected rise in stock prices, and some strategists are drawing uncomfortable parallels to the dot-com bubble of the late 1990s. And they well should be. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ hovered near record highs yesterday as markets are having one of the best earnings seasons in years, and a wave of upward revisions has caught even the bulls off guard. This week, Yardeni Research raised its year-end S&P 500 target to 8250 from 7700. After consensus earning estimates for 2026 and 2027 surged well past the firm's already bullish forecast. We've never seen consensus earning expectations rise so quickly for the current and coming years as they have in recent months, according to a veteran strategist, Ed Yardeni. The result has been an earnings-led melt-up in the stock market. Now, we all remember 2000 all too well. In 1999, dot-com darlings traded at a median price-to-earnings multiple of around 152 times, meaning investors paid $152 for every $1 of profit. Today's AI class of 2026 trades at roughly 39 times earnings. So valuations are high, but they're not at the dot-com highs. I don't know if that provides you with any comfort or not. Still, warning signs are emerging beneath the surface. Yesterday, Yahoo Finance's Brian Sozzi flagged a concentrated rally beneath the surface, with BTIG strategist Jonathan Krinsky noting that Friday marked just the third time since 1990 that more S&P 500 stocks hit new lows than new highs on a day the index itself set a record. Now, you don't have to be a financial genius to figure out something's not right here. Am I calling for is this a bear market? Am I calling for a bear market? No. But I am calling for a very healthy correction. And a correction is healthy. It's what keeps the bull alive. Out of Moscow, the Kremlin played down a government economic growth forecast, which was a downgrade, Tuesday, and gave no indication that it plans to punish officials for failing to boost growth, saying the government has taken the necessary measures to ensure economic stability. That's why this war with Ukraine, I think, is about to wind up, because Putin's out of money. It's hard to fight a war without any cash. Now this is bullish. Copper jump. Well, it's bullish if you bought it. If you have to use it, it's kind of. Let me just get to the point. Copper jumped above $14,000 a ton, closing in on a record high as a rebound in Chinese demand and mounting supply risk outweigh concerns about the Iran war's impact on global growth. Prices rose as much as 1.2% to $14,106 a ton on the London Metal Exchange, inching closer to an all-time high above $14,500 a ton, which was set back in January. The move came even as the Iran war truce remains fragile, with President Trump showing signs of frustration at a lack of progress in negotiations. So I know he's not going to see Xi for help. Well, I think he's going with a stern warning. You either stop sending munitions to Iran, that's if Xi will even admit to it, or you're going to be next. U.S. banks are rushing to fix scores of IT system weaknesses flagged by Anthropic's powerful but costly Mythos AI tool, prompting urgent repairs, software upgrades, and raising the possibility of disruption for customers. A handful of the country's largest lenders currently have access to Mythos. That's MYTHOS. As Reuters previously reported, they are now uncovering issues the program is revealing. As they comb through the vulnerabilities, the larger banks are also helping inform smaller banks who do not have direct access to the tool so they can prepare their systems. Mythos is viewed by cybersecurity experts as posing significant challenges to the banking industry and its legacy technology systems, prompting a series of warnings from regulators and policymakers. This is a wake-up call because cyber risk is moving to machine speed, while much of the bank defense still operates at human speed. Now, step back in time let's get into the Wayback Machine, and let's go back to 2000 when, the dot-com was popping and ultimately blew up. But even back then, the thought of transacting anything over the internet, especially logging into your bank account or typing in your credit card number, that was unthinkable. Online e-commerce had not caught on. Yeah, the internet was, the world's new play toy, but it was in its infancy. And I had a friend who was an engineer, and I talked to him back then about creating some kind of secure tunnel that people could log into and then access their bank accounts. And he said it wasn't doable. And this is one of the smartest guys I ever knew. He passed. He was a great friend. And he brought wireless internet to India. I mean, this is the level of smart Don was. And when I talked to him about this idea for this tunnel that couldn't be penetrated, where a person could be guaranteed safety logging into he goes, Dwayne, nobody will ever Nobody's ever going to trust logging into their bank account. I mean, that term hadn't even been invented or thought of, logging into your bank account. People knew we had, a wonderful new play toy, but nobody was sure. And I think AI is sort of in that same place right now. I mean, what they've given to us, the public, AI related, to play with, is really amazing. I mean, I'm stunned just about every time I use it to do something. But if that's what we have access to, imagine what is really out there. Imagine what the big corporations and various government agencies, just imagine what they have access to. I'm going to guess we're running 5 years behind them with what's available to, the regular Joe, me and you. Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna lambasted Senate Majority Leader John Thune yesterday after he opposed removing a provision impacting pesticide companies that Make America Healthy Again supporters backed. Thune said during a Thursday interview with KOTA TV that he disagreed with Luna's amendment, which removed a provision that acted as a liability shield for pesticide companies in the House version of the Farm Bill, also known as the Farm, Food, and National Security Act of 2026. In response to Thune, Luna fired back at the Senate Majority Leader in comments to the Daily Caller News Foundation. Luna said, "Of course this guy would say that. He is everything that is wrong with politics." I thought A.O. Kami was what was wrong. Speaking of commies, and I'm not talking comedians, that would be comics. Arcadia, California. Never been there. They got a mayor, Eileen Wang. She was charged federally today with acting as an illegal foreign agent of the People's Republic of China. This is according to a Department of Justice press release. Wang is 58 years old. She faces one count of acting in the U.S. as an illegal agent of a foreign government. She has agreed to plead guilty to the charge, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Wang also resigned yesterday from her role as mayor. You see what they're doing, right? What was it, last week we were talking about the Chinese police stations? I mean, she just said, yeah, I'm guilty. I am a foreign agent. I am loyal not to the United States of America. I'm loyal to China. And she's had access to so much sensitive information. I don't know how long she's been mayor. I don't know anything about her politics. I just don't understand how this happens in America. Voters go to the poll and vote them in. I don't know. I'm going to look into her. I mean, there's got to be a lot more to this story. This is from the same article. Wang also allegedly communicated with a PRC official via WeChat, sharing and editing an essay the official had written for the Los Angeles Times on her website. Additionally, in November of 21, Wang allegedly communicated with John Chen, a high-ranking member of the PRC's intelligence, and asked him to post a news article from her website. This is what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wants to send, Wang purportedly wrote, according to the same plea agreement. Wang admitted that she was in the U.S. at the time she engaged in these actions, and that she did not disclose on her website that some of its content had been posted following directives from the People's Republic of China. Wang released a statement through her attorneys apologizing for her actions. Well, she apologizes and is sorry for the mistakes she made in her personal life. Her love and devotion for the Arcadia community have not changed and did not waver. Okay. Well, there's the news. Let's take a look at Logic 247. Hang on. I do have it here somewhere. There we go. So last week was a blockbuster week. I think it was a historical first. That's today. That's yesterday. This is last week. Last week was week 405. Last week we issued 71 Logic 247 alerts. 24 of them never triggered. So we had 47 actionable alerts and 0 stop-outs. In 7.5 years, I think that's a first. 0%. So today, we're of course in week 406. Over the last 406 weeks, we've issued over 22,200 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out, based simply on market structure. A very simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, so far this week, we've issued a total of 28 alerts. Now, Valerie did the recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. She'll update it and post it this afternoon, as she does each and every day. So at the time she did the recap, we were still waiting on the outcome of 11. That gave us 17 actionable alerts. We've had 1 stop out so far, 6%. Now, yesterday we had 1 stop out. Yesterday we had 14 alerts issued, 7 actionable, 1 stop out, 14%. But now we've got 17 actionable versus, see, we had 7 actionable yesterday. Today we have 17. 1 stop out. So that changed the percentage from 14% to 6%. I really like being in the single digits. So now the purpose of the Logic alerts is to help you learn how to read a chart. Last Thursday night in the members only workshop, I did a full set of Logic 247 alerts. The S&P, the Dow, the Russell, the NQ, crude oil, gold, and silver. I did both a long and a short alert. And I showed everyone in the workshop exactly what I look for and exactly how I do it. If you were not there Thursday night live during the workshop, if you're a member, you have access to the workshop video channel. Of course, we recorded it and it's there for you. And the results were quite good. We did 14 alerts. 7 were profitable, 7 never triggered. Nothing stopped out. So as you go back and watch, it's a 2-hour video. It's the longest workshop we've had in a while. And I had a lot of people say it was a good one. So if you weren't there and if you haven't watched the video, if you're a member and you have access, I encourage you. And then send me any questions that you have. Well, you said this. What does that mean? Or, well, you did this. Why? Whatever. I'm just hit me up in Telegram and I'll be happy to respond and do my best to answer your questions. Now, every logic alert has an entry price, long or short, then an initial target designed to help you get your goal for the day, and in most cases, additional targets and then a final trade to target. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. Now, 406. So if you never actually trade a logic alert, because quite often a logic 247 alert, and again, these alerts are put out hours before they trigger. So it's not like when an alert comes out, you got to, race to your desk and put the order on. I build in time. I'm working off a 30-minute chart. So as a result, a lot of the logic alerts, or probably half, I don't know, will trigger overnight while you're sleeping. That's okay, because the purpose of the logic alerts is not so much for you to trade them. I mean, of course you can trade them, but the real purpose is to help you learn to read the chart, just like I do. Okay? Now, once you learn how to read the chart just like I do, then you'll be able to, I'm going to guess, improve with your own knowledge and skills and ability. Water seeks its own level. So what you get from me is just the rudimentary, fundamental way I have of reading a chart. I'm sure once you learn that, you'll take it to higher levels. And I encourage you to do exactly that. Okay? So 406 weeks, very long time, 7.5 years. But long before we had introduced Logic 247, we had our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, or the CTAs. Now they're different in a lot of different ways. As you can see, they're not there's no entry prices, there's no initial target. It's just a big picture target. And they don't come out around the clock. That's the main thing. Boy, I fat fingered that, didn't I? So, unlike the logic alerts, which can come out at any time, the CTAs are typically published 5 minutes before the Globex open each evening. In other words, all of our traders had all of these targets 5 minutes before the Tuesday session began. And the Tuesday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. It will end today at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, that will begin the Wednesday session. So, all of our traders had these targets for the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. Now we're going to go through the individual markets as we do every day. You'll see these targets drawn out on the chart. I'll explain to you what each target is based on. Just remember, as we go through the individual charts, our members had the information 5 minutes before the market opened. And with that, we'll go to the charts. We'll start where we always do, with the daily chart of the S&P 500 E-mini futures, the bellwether. Now, this needs to get scooted up just a little bit. right there where the black step line. Now see, when the black step line crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, see how on the way up they were running parallel? When that step line crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, we typically see a retracement back to the BBC. That's why I'm warning everyone to be very cautious with this market. Okay. Now this is today, Tuesday. This was yesterday where we put in another new all-time historic high, as we did on Friday, as we did on Thursday, and as we did last Wednesday. New all-time high, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. Now, not only did we not get the pullback to the BBC, the step line crossed back to the left side of blue and climbing. That's really unusual. And the more I look at it, I'm going to get rid of that window. Right here, right where it crossed back over. That should be great support. Now, we got to take out Friday's low, and then it's just a quick drop to that support area. Now, price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's a green line. We call it the BBC. Stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. No matter what you trade, no matter how you trade it, price reverts to the mean. Always, in all markets. It's just how it works. It's kind of like gravity. Maybe you don't understand gravity, but you know what happens if you step off the side of a building, right? And it's important to know that. You'll better understand it when we go to the smaller time frames, which we're going to do right now. The BBC is currently at the 24% fib retracement. That's based off the low put in March 31st and the high put in yesterday. Now, the actual all-time historic high is 74.54 and 3/4. So I'm off by a point. It's hard to get it right on it. But that is the all-time historic high. 74.54.75, which puts the shallowest possible fib retracement at 71.94. Once we get through this support level, this is support times 2. Price always reverts to the mean. In other words, price always pulls back to that green line. We are long overdue for such a pullback. And if we do get it here in the next day or two, that's a shallow retracement. To keep this bull really healthy, a 50% retracement would be a good thing. Now, I know for investors that sounds horrible and frightening, but depends on what you're invested in, I guess. The best thing you can do, if you have a large enough time horizon, in other words, if you're young, all you got to do is buy the SPY. That's the spider. The indexes always go higher over time. It's how they're created. They were designed that way. So you don't have to stay up all night researching stocks, looking at the numbers, trying to hit the lotto. You got a team of professionals over at Standard & Poor's that created the S&P 500 index. When a company gets weak, they're taken out of the 500 and they're replaced with a strong bullish company. So because the pros over at S&P are constantly reshuffling the deck, if you're in your 20s, even in your 30s, just buy the SPY and keep buying and keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. Now, that is how you grow wealth. It's not how you generate daily income, okay? Generating daily income is a whole different story. Trading and investing are two very different things. When people, well, you know this from your own group of friends, whether it's at work, church, wherever, if they hear that you're an investor, immediately, like they have some kind of respect for you. Oh, he's an investor. But tell them you're a trader, and they'll go, oh my God, he's going to lose his house, blah, blah, blah. Am I right? Tell people you're an investor and you're a respected person. Tell them you're a trader and they think you're an idiot. But you know, I learned long ago, one of the most important life lessons I ever learned was what people think about me is none of my business. All right, we're now on the 30-minute chart. That's where all of the alerts are created, both the Logic 247 alerts and the Concierge Trade alerts. The vertical line separates today, Tuesday. Here's Monday. Back here's Friday. The horizontal lines are the weekly trading zones. They're published every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. We've published the zones every Monday for our members for over 16 years. December 14th of 2009, that was the first week we published the zones. And the ideas behind them's pretty simple. When price drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. Like I said, pretty simple. Now, only one of three things happens when price encounters a weekly trading zone. 70% of the time, it's going to be this: consolidation. It could look like this. That's also consolidation. So that's 70% of the time. 20% of the time is rejection. That's this and this. This is like a combination of consolidation / rejection. In other words, price came down, hit the zone, and got rejected. Okay. Now, this zone is actually 73.97/98. This one is 74.49/74.50. I like to keep my charts as clean as possible. If you go back and look at some of the early episodes, you'll see that I've got two lines. I've got the whole zone. When I publish the zones, you get the numbers, and there's a tool to add it to your charts. Michael will show you how to do that. But anyway, I just put one. Again, I know that it's 97/98. I know that it's 49/50. And you should too. All right. So yesterday we had a nice move up, new all-time historic high, and we found resistance at the weekly trading zone. So we immediately, look at this candle. This happened at 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Lag and a retracement. Price always reverts to the mean. In other words, price always pulls back to the BBC, whether it's from below. Look over here. See that? It pulled up. And here it pulled down, and it pulled down. And then we got below it. And then yesterday we had the big leg and then the retracement. Price always reverts to the mean. Now what's important to understand is that the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. But eventually price will trade through. So we pulled back to the BBC yesterday afternoon, and for 2 hours we just consolidated sideways, and then on the open last night we ran into red and falling. Okay, red and falling is bearish, blue and climbing is bullish. Now I mentioned earlier about the black step line crossing blue and climbing. That in most cases will lead to a retracement back to the BBC. This is a perfect example. The step line crosses, you get a retracement. Right here, the step line crossed, you get a retracement. Now the same is true with red and falling. When the black step line crosses red and falling, you're usually going to get a retracement to the BBC. It's just price reverting to the mean. Okay. All right, so we opened, we ran into red and falling. That put us below the BBC. Remember, the pullback holds more often than it doesn't, but eventually price will trade through. And there you have it. And so we hit the short target last night at 21.30. Now the long target was based off of where blue turned to red right there. The short target was based off this area right here. You see where the black step line crossed red and falling, turning it into blue and climbing? And also, it looks kind of like a bullish cross, but we were above the BBC. But the step line crossed red and falling, turning it to blue and climbing. And that's an important price, important area. Price did spike it, but we hit it. Now this candle here opened at $74.24. So that 130-minute candle had 9 points in it, just down to the short target. It dropped further. It went to come on. Opened at 24 and dropped all the way down to 11.25. So 13 points in one 30-minute candle. The S&P pays $50 a point. 2 points at your goal for the day. So when the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. Now this low right here, okay? That low is 74.02.25. What's this low? 74.02.5. So we took out this low from yesterday by 1 tick. And then buyers came in and drove it up. See, understand, this is a very important price point. It was the beginning of this rally that led to an all-time historic high. So when price got back into that area, hey, let's ride the ride again. Except this time, we ran into the underside of the short target, which will often be resistance. When you trade through the long target on the pullback, the top side of the long target often becomes support. And when you trade through a CTA short target on the pullback, the underside will often become resistance. So the step line crossed. We got our pullback to the BBC. The pullback held. As long as the candles are touching the green line, even if it's just a wick, that's a hold. And now we've dropped all the way down to the next zone at 73.64. Still got 2 more zones below us. Okay. Now, so you know what the long target and the short target were based on? Oh, I didn't realize it was so late. Michael will be here in a minute. Right here. Now this is Tuesday, Monday, Friday. 73.50. Call it 73.51. That should be good support. All right, let me run through these others real quick. Here's where the Dow opened last night. We attempted higher, pull back to the BBC, and just spent quite a few hours consolidating. And then we dropped to the short target, which was based off the same thing as I showed you on the ES. See the black step line crossed red and falling and turned it to blue and climbing? That's an important price, important area. And that's where the market found support, which sent us support, sends us to resistance, weekly trading zone, then more consolidation, and then right here, okay, the early highs at the open last night. That's that high right there. That high is 832. That high is 838. So anyway, down we come to the zone 49,405. Now there's only one more zone below on the Dow. Interesting. But we hit it to the tick. Support sends the market looking for resistance. And so we've now pulled back to the BBC. Pull back holds more often than not. If it keeps going though, right here you got a bearish cross. So there's potential resistance. The Russell, here's where we opened. And we try to get to the short target on this move. And this short target is based off that same thing I showed you on the ES and on the Dow. Black step line. Except, no, I'm sorry. This is a bullish cross. This is when the blue line gets above the green line. So it's not like the other two. It's different. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, look where we found resistance, right at the zone, 2896/97. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. So we got close, but we didn't quite touch it. Buyers came in a little early. The low was 2860.6, and I had a target set at 2859, again based off the bullish cross. So support sends us to resistance. Look at this wild guy. Yeah, is that? Oh, that's when the news came out. CPI info came out. Sorry guys, on YouTube something happened, but I just fixed it, I think. All right. So everything came tumbling down fast. Now, I said that when price encounters a weekly zone, 70% of the time consolidation, 20% of the time rejection, 10% of the time is the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. When that happens and the move runs out of steam, price will typically retrace to the zone it sliced through and then continue in the direction of the slice. We've only got one more zone below us on the Russell. Look at the black step line. You see how coming down they're parallel, but you see how this sideways consolidation, the step line is on the verge of crossing red and falling. Once that happens, we should see a rally back up to the BBC. Why? Because price always reverts to the mean. And the heads up that that's about to happen is when the black step line crosses red and falling or blue and climbing. On the NQ, here's where we opened last night, and we just couldn't get to that long target. Short. We hit the short target by 2100, and that candle opened at 378 and dropped about 60. That's about a $1,200 per contract 30-minute candle right there. Hey, then we got below. You see right here where the step line crossed blue and climbing. That's an important price, important area. See it right there. That's this low. Bounced us up to red and falling. Sent us down to the zone. Pull back held. And now we still have two zones below on the NQ. All right, we covered the indices. Michael is here. So when I come back, we'll pick up with crude. And Michael, if you're ready.
Okay, let me just fix my name.
Sometimes you want to go. I got my new debit card that I use to pay all my bills with. It's got a different, the number's the same, but it has a different security code. So I called the bank this morning. Number one, who in the heck can read the phone number on the back of that card? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, I called and I asked the lady. I said, "Hey, my new debit card just came because the old one was expiring like the end of next month." I said, "I pay a lot of my bills. Just it's an automatic debit based upon my card number." I said, "Now that the security code has changed," I said, "are those payments going to get accepted or rejected, or what's going to happen?" She said, "Wow, that's a really good question." And she said, "I don't know the answer." She said,
think they're going to get rejected because you got to change the expiration date too, don't you?
"Oh, I didn't even think about that."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, so how will I know?" She goes, "Well, if we reject something, we'll send you a text message." I said, "Okay." And I shouldn't get billed, should I?
I don't think so. Not for that. They bill you if it's like non-sufficient funds.
Yeah. So I said, because for me to go through every bill I pay, I guess I could if I just look at my statement. I'm probably making a bigger deal of it than I need to. If something gets rejected, then I'll just go in one by one as it happens. She said, she said many companies have a way of just knowing. She didn't go into any details. So anyway, I know you got work to do here, so let me shut up and your charts look good.
Excellent. Okay, so here we go. Hang on, I just about choked. Okay, I literally almost choked. There we go. If you have not taken, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 12th day of May, 2026. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, and there's the joking again. If you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, all you need to do is go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button. There's no credit card required for the trial. When you click on that purple button, it's going to bring you to this page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. Make sure down at the bottom you use TradingView login ID. Click the register. When you do that, we know that you took the free trial, and we will be able to get your indicators indicating for you on your desktop. Okay, and get them indicating for you on your desktop. So you will be able to experience the same tools that we're using. All right, so I finally fixed the 2420 blueprint part of the bottom, so I can go through this all with you today. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. All right. Today on the NQ, we're up 46 ticks. On the Russell, we're up 27. On the YM, we're minus 15. And on the ES, we got back to 0. Now, on the NQ, 46 ticks was the high of the day. On the Russell, 27 was the high of the day. And on the YM, we were at plus 10 and we stopped out once. And on the ES, we were also at plus 10 and we stopped out once there too. We did stop out once on the NQ as well, but we got back up to 46. Today it took 28 minutes and 4 trades to get to $1,800 with 10 contracts on, or $180 with 1 contract. We only took 17 trades this morning with 3 stop outs, so 82% of our trades are break even or better. Now, for everybody who's listening to this right now, I was saying this morning, let me see, Nate didn't make it in here. I was saying this morning that our percentages are still, they're great. The percentage is 80%, greater than 80% any day is good. Probably better than average. And we're just not getting a lot of opportunity. We used to get 30, 40 trades a day, and now we're getting 17, 18, 15. So we just don't have the opportunity that we used to have. Anyway, for the month of May, we're up $3,222 over 7 trading days, averaging $460 per contract or 2-hour trading day. I usually like that to be above $1,200. On the year, we're at $82,275 over 77 trading days, averaging $1,068 per contract or 2-hour trading. Again, I like that to be over $1,200. Following the 2420 blueprint, these numbers are correct now. You would have had to work 11.58 hours so far, so 11.5 hours so far this year, getting a goal for the day. And if you did everything just like I did, had the same slippage and everything else, you'd be trading 5 contracts right now, and you would be up $30,795, averaging $2,658 an hour. Okay. Well, let's get into it. On the Russell today, we only had a couple of trades, and they were both positive trades. And here they were. First one was a plus 7, and the next one was a plus 20. So we had 27 on the Russell. We don't have anything happening right there yet. Okay, nothing yet. And on the YM, we had just a couple of trades, 1 plus 10 and 1 minus 25. Now this minus 25, it just missed getting my stop to plus 5. Right? It went almost 10 ticks, which would have bumped my stop to plus 5. And then it pulled back and stopped me out. But we were saying, I'll get into it with the NQ because I drew all the lines on the NQ. This is not a trade here on the YM. This was not a trade over here on the Russell. We don't have any trades right now, but everything is running. So we'll get into that in a minute. On the ES now, we had we had 4 trades on the ES. This one, which was a break even at the beginning. This one where we got the goal today. Now, the reason I have it a different color blue is because the down close didn't actually hit the mid band. And the down close, I thought this down close was going to hit the mid band and get this out of the overbought, but it didn't do either one. But I had the short waiting there. And it filled me, and I got 8 ticks on that one. And then I got 2 more ticks on this guy, and then I stopped out on that. So we're up to 10 after this, and then back to 0 after that. And that brings us current all the way over here, and we don't have anything happening there right now. Okay, the NQ just needs an up close currently, just needs an up close, and you'll have a long trade. Okay. Now it's got a low here of 10.25, so it actually just filled me and just gave me 10 ticks and just took me out with 10 ticks in profit. Sorry, I was trying to describe to you what we needed, and it actually gave me 11 ticks in profit. Look at this trade. Here it is. Right here is the trade. Let's buy there, and then 11 ticks later, it took me out. Okay, so that's our first trade in 3 days in a year. Let's not forget that one. Okay, so today in the session, in the morning session on the NQ, we had the majority of the trades, but it still wasn't double digits. We'll get to the beginning of it all right here. These are all the lines I was drawing, saying places that it should go to, and when it should go to, and where it should go to, and all that stuff, using regular price action. All right, So this one right here, the first thing right here on the NQ, our first trade there was +8. And then over here, we had a +10 that put us at 18. So we were almost at the goal for the day at that point. And then we got the +8 on the yes. I drew in this saying this is what it looks like the market wanted to do. And it did it. Over here, we got, from there, we got 10 more, bring us up to 28. 28, yeah, 28. Then I was suggesting it was going to go down to here, and it did that to the tick. It went down to there. All right, and then we stopped out, so that put us at -8 from +28, -36 puts us at -8 right there. And then we picked up 10 ticks there to get us to 2. Then 10 ticks there to get us to 12. 12 ticks to get us to 24. And do I have both? I do. Okay, 10 ticks to get us to 34. And then 12 ticks to get us to 46. And that is where we ended it with the NQ on the morning session. Okay, and that was all of it. So this is where we just picked up 10 ticks a minute ago. 11 ticks, actually. So this is how we wrapped it up for the morning session. Okay, 46 ticks on the NQ, 27 ticks on the Russell, -15 on the YM, and 0 on the S. $209 a contract. Took 28 minutes and 4 trades to get to $180 a contract, or 1,800 with 10. We took 17 trades with 3 stop outs, bringing us to 82% of our trades for break even or better. On the month now, $3,220 over 7 trading days, averaging $460 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year, $82,275 over 77 trading days, averaging $1,068 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, the 24/20 blueprint is the same as it was just a few minutes ago. So far this year, worked 11.58 hours getting our goal for the day. We have gotten the goal every single day, I'm knocking on wood, every single day that we traded. So far this year, all 77 trading days that I've done this year. And if you're doing everything exactly like me and have exactly the same slippage, you would have been trading 5 contracts right now and up $30,795, right? Averaging $2,658 an hour. All right, so afternoon session results, we finally have something to put in here. Right, for the last couple of days, I've been wanting to put something in here. Today, 91 there, and today is 5/12. And on the NQ, we picked up 11 ticks. Okay. So this, copy, paste, copy, paste. This should have been 1, 0. This should be 1, 0 so far. And the number of minutes left will say 17. This should be a 91. Okay, so that is all that stuff right now. We took 1 trade the other day and it was a break even. That was like Friday last week or Thursday last week, wasn't it? It wasn't even Thursday, it was Wednesday last week. Wow. Okay, well, it is what it is. Let's get back in here and look at this. Now, some of you guys, I'm just going to show you a little something. If I can show you a little something, I'm trying to bring it up over here on the other monitor. Okay. There's something I'm working on. But if you look at this, this is up 420% today. And if I change that to an S, and this one should be down 73%. So 420 minus 73. What's the difference? Well, let's just bring out my handy dandy calculator and we'll do it like this. 347% difference. That's a big deal. And that happens on a regular basis. Right. I'm going to flip to there and back to here. Guess nobody's watching. I was wondering if that would bring up any questions, but it didn't. So I won't go into any detail. So now what we're waiting for here is this to pull back down, for this to pull back down. This needs to make a full cycle. It needs to get up into the overbought and then come back down, right? But everything else just needs to pull back. So one of the things that I was showing this morning, and I was drawing all this stuff up this morning, was how the leg lengths were kind of working out. You know, the retracements of the leg lengths, like this is leg length down, this is 50% retracement, this is leg length, this is 50% retracement. Just taking a look at the bigger picture stuff. Okay, so we're at the 50% retracement level of that leg length now. It could be a head fake to the upside right here. It could actually be a direction change, but I doubt it. I was thinking back here that it was going to be a direction change, but I said if it stops right here, because it could stop right there, then look for it to get down to here today is what I said back then. This was at 10:19. I said look for it to drop down to here today. See, it dropped down to there, then it bounced off of that, 50% retracement from there. So then you would copy this. If I can copy that, I can. You would copy that. No, I can't. Clone it. There it is. Yeah, you would copy that and bring it down here. And you see right over here, you hit that level, you consolidate it a little bit, and then you would do it again. Right down here. All right, it's stuck right there for a little bit. Then it got right down here. And now we'll do it again. I guess you do it from here. Right down there to the tick. See that? Isn't that interesting?
To the tick.
Waiting and ready. Okay. That is, and that's just the way the day's been.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, Dwayne, that stuff that I showed you earlier,
yes,
it actually got better. It actually got better.
Did it really?
Just keep getting better and better. Yep. I'll show you in a sec. Hang on. Just kind of munch this up and get it to the end. Here. This. Let me bring it up over here. Here it is. So, you know, the one side of it, the maximum that it can go down is 100%. But it's only gone down 68% so far. But if we flip that to the other side of it, and I switch this instead of calls, I switched it to puts because the market is going down. And the other side of it is now at, well, it was at 400 and something percent a few minutes ago. It was 400 and something percent. So the difference was 340%. I think I had 347% exactly. The other one was at 420% minus 73%. So 347% was the difference. And, you know, there's costs involved and all that, but still. And that happens on a regular basis.
Now, what led you to choose that particular symbol?
I put my minions to work. I had an idea, and the idea came from iBit, actually. You know what? I talked about iBit a little bit last week. I think if I put it out here, I might have iBit up here.
iBit now
Alb
owns more.
Alb is what you talked about.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
You talked about Alb, and it's the same logic, but Alb doesn't have the options to go with it. You know, the triple options, one or both ways. So you can't really do it with Alb. Now, IBIT, I'll have to look at IBIT and see if there's anything out there. I don't think, IBIT is a BlackRock thing.
Right.
And I don't think anything's out there for that yet. But when it is out there, it should do roughly the same thing. But what I did is I had this idea and I put my minions to work. It was based on stuff that I was seeing here with this and stuff that I was seeing with the ETFs, the SPY, QQQ, the IWM, these gaps. Now, on a 6 hour candle, whatever hour it is, it doesn't matter. The gap is always the same. Go ahead. You were going to ask a question.
I was going to ask, I was going to say originally, IBIT now owns more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor's strategy, or Mr., as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what you're talking about. If IBIT doesn't offer, what does Mr. offer?
Mr's on my list, but it doesn't offer it either.
Oh, okay.
I have a list. Let me show you. I had it up here yesterday. I have it in a PDF somewhere. Let me see. Let me just say, I sent this the other day. I think let me move this over.
What was the capital requirement to trade both sides? Yeah.
About $4,000.
Okay.
But then, on one side of that, each side of that would have been about 2,000. On one side of that, you made 400%. So on the other side, you lost 70%. So out of the $2,000 on one side, you would have lost like $1,800, $1,700, and on the other side, you would have made $8,000. So, but Mr. is in my list. This is my list right here.
Yeah,
so Mr. is number 10. Number 10 in the gap. And 70% of the time it gaps 1%. And 44% of the time it gaps 3%. And the average gap 2%. But I set my minions to work and had them go out and find the things that regularly give the best gaps, like SPXL, XPSS. They do the same thing. Just looking at my list. Alba's in there. Alba's number 16 in that list. Mara's in there, number 12. Mr's number 10. But you're looking for something that's got both sides of it. There's IBIT and IBIT O. I'm going to have to check that out and see what that is. IBIT and IBIT O. And the
Michael asked, you said Mr. doesn't offer it. What is it?
It means a triple X long or a triple X short, which is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these other ones that I was just showing you a second ago. It's an ETF. Yeah, they're options on ETFs is what it is. Like options on ETFs on various things, like the SPX and the SPXO, I guess is what I just said a minute ago. So it's options on ETFs. And
okay, he's got it. You got any trades yet today?
Yes, we do. We have one trade so far. We had one NQ trade for 11 ticks. So it's the first one since the 6th, since last Wednesday. Yeah, so we're up $550 in the session. Yes, I know. When I was looking at it in here, I was like, the 6th. The 6th
that's right. You were out Friday, right?
Yeah, Thursday, Friday I missed. So 2 of those days I was out. But still, it seems like
the ES need a down close and an up close.
On the ES, down close, and then another one that's got a wick that hits it because the down close isn't going to hit it. But if it gets a down close and then a wick that hits it and then an up close, I don't think it's going to hit. Yeah, see, it didn't hit it. So this one here could hit it with a wick and then give an up close. Right now, that would be it.
Okay, so an up close even on the current bar.
Yep, an up close on this one. So it would be 92.
Now that up close, well, obviously would have to be above
Yeah,
The
that would be
midline.
92.
Yeah.
Be 92 now. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the DOM. Okay. And
So for those who don't know, this is a order to buy 73.92 on a stop, and then down below.
oh, it's 89.50. Should be 91.50 now.
Okay, now you see how he moved that? It moved the stop loss automatically.
Yes, it did. You see how the low is 89.50. It's the low plus 2 points. So it's at 91.50 right now. The up close will be right here at 91.25. And if he gives us that up close, it should trigger us in here at 91.50 or pretty close to 91.50. Now, if we get the down close,
Which we did.
we did, the midpoint is at 90.75. So this cannot go below.
Now that stop, guys, that is not an active order until he's triggered into the order. That red, it's not active. It only becomes an active stop once there's an actual trade.
89 up to 91. It can't go any lower. Okay, now it's not going to be a trade. Now the reason it's not going to be a trade now, I'm going to cancel it right here. The reason it's not going to be a trade is because the up close on this is going to be below the midpoint. We needed the up close to be on or above the midpoint. And even if we get an up close right now, it's going to be about right here, which is too low. It's not going to work out. The rule is the up close, when this comes out of the oversold and it closes on or above the midpoint, that would be the trade. All right. That one that I did on the NQ a little while ago was back here somewhere, right here. This was where it came out of the oversold. This was on or above the midpoint, and that's where I took the 11 ticks right there. I think that was it. Might have been a different one. No, it might have been this one right here. It might have been that one. But you can clearly see on that right there. See how this is below the midpoint? That's not a trade. But on this one right here, you can clearly see right here how the up close came out of the oversold and it was on or above the midpoint. Mm-hmm. Coming from below, it was on or above the midpoint. Crossed it and landed on or above it. Okay, that's the rule. Mm-hmm. So we'll go to the end of this, and we don't have anything here. 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 It's 127 already. Now we got our one trade off, so that was good. 100-point 10-minute run on the NQ. Was it 100-point 10-minute run on the NQ? Yes, was a big run too. 77 up to 95, almost a 20-point run. And yes, well, since 1 o'clock, it was 64 up to 96. It was a 30-point run.
Yeah, so guys, that was the retracement that I was showing you on the 30-minute charts that we were due for a retracement. And that run up, I'll go through those charts again when Michael's done.
Now, this morning we looked at something on a 5-minute. I don't know if it was that one. We looked at something on a 5-minute. I think it was the NQ we looked at on the 5-minute.
I forget.
Yeah. And just to go over what we looked at this morning, I think this is what, yeah, because I had drawn this in here. And I drew in this, all this stuff that's happening right now. This retracement level right here, did I draw that in this morning? It looks like that came on 11:30, so that wasn't the one I drew. But I drew another one in up here where I said, this is the retracement right here. If it pulls up here, we would expect it to give another leg length like this. It was right in here on this bar when it was happening. And say we put our stop either up above here or to be, to really put it, we'd put it up above here, but we could put it up above this wick right here. And with the target, you'd expect it to go this leg length down, which is this right here. You'd expect to go that leg length down. But the initial target that it should get to is right here. Okay, right there. And it was in this bar here that was working this morning when I said that. And it did all of that. And then it pulled back and it did it again. And then it pulled back and it did it again. And so now if we take these right here, stick it over here, look, it's almost the same exact leg length right here.
Yep.
So price just repeats itself over and over again. And so what it should do right now, if we were to take all of these things that I drew and put them all over here, the overall formation I'm running out of time right here, but the overall formation should look something like this. From way over here, that's what I would expect. Something like that. The end formation of it all would be something like that. Okay, but this movement back up here is going to be ratcheted up like this probably, and then you get a whole bunch of consolidation when it finds this area up here again, which is the all-time high. I think, well, not, that wasn't the all-time high. On the ES, wherever the all-time high was on the ES, it would be something similar to that. That's what I would think would happen. We'll see. I could kind of leave that up, but I'll take it off for right now. Anyway, I just ran out of time. So let's go back here for a second. We almost have a trade right here. We didn't have a trade there. And up close on the YM would be a trade right now. And on the NQ, if you go back to a 39 range, there's nothing on the NQ right now. So we're going to wrap this session up with just the 11 ticks on the one trade that we got, puts us at plus 550. One trade, 0 stop outs. 100% of our trades are break even or better. And that's it. So that brings our average. Actually, our average in this session, the amount of time in the session is 14.82 minutes of time to trade. And we're still making the goal for the day in those 14 minutes. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button, no credit card required. Once you click on that, it's going to bring you to the registration page. Just fill it out. Down here at the bottom, make sure you give us a trading view, login ID. Okay. And that's it. With that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
I just noticed a pop-up I got over here. Google is in talks with SpaceX for a rocket launch deal. SpaceX going public next month, guys. And to get in now, probably the best way I've found is the ARK. Can you bring up that symbol, ARKVX?
Yeah, let me spread it out here.
That thing's going to pop. Oh my goodness. It's going to be the largest IPO in history. $2 trillion valuation.
ARKVX. This is it right here. And this is on a daily. So even this has gone up 20% from the beginning of the year.
When I started talking to the audience about it, it was in the $30 range, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was too.
No, that would have gone. No, it must have been in the $40 range because I started talking about it a couple months ago, I think.
Was it just a couple months ago?
I don't know. Time
but
flies.
It's still up 20-30% since then.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see advertisements. If you want a piece of the SpaceX IPO, buy ARK. So, I gotta get my buying done before this. See, we're at $50 now.
Yep.
Dadgummit. Oh well.
50.46.
This whole rollover and IRA thing, what a nightmare it's turned out to be with US Bank.
They don't make things easy anymore. Even rolling over an IRA to get your stuff into StoneX, it's still a lot of paperwork and everything else.
That's the thing. We keep doing the paperwork. We've actually physically gone to the bank, and long story. Anyway, all right. You already passed the torch to me.
So I got the fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A. We're looking South Mountain, America's largest city park.
All right. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 28 minutes and 4 trades to get to $1,800.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. I said when I came back that we'd pick up where we left off. And we will. But we had gotten to crude. But I want to go back and look at the ES again. Okay. Step line crossed red and falling. I was talking to you guys about the very thing, and price ran right back to the 30-minute BBC. And as you can see, the pullback held. Now it looks like it's going to make another run at it. Now this is resistance times 2. You got this BBC and the weekly trading zone. But now you also have the high of the candle so it's really resistance times 3. Now on the way down, because the black step line is below price, it becomes potential support. And the same is true of red and falling, which if we consolidate sideways one more candle, it's going to become blue and climbing. Obviously one is bearish, the other bullish. So we got the pullback we were looking for on the ES. Oh, now the pullback on the Dow didn't hold. We shot through it. We're now consolidating at the weekly zone. On the Russell, we did not get the pullback. Now remember, the Russell was down the most substantial of everything when I did the numbers from around the world. So it's still trying to get back to the BBC. But it's run into trouble right here. See where you got a wick sticking down, a wick sticking up, and a wick sticking down. I mean, this whole area is just a hotbed right here. Put your horizontal line, and that's where the market is having trouble getting back above. If it can get above the high of the current candle, then looking left, there's nothing in its way to get back to the BBC. The NQ. We still haven't crossed the step line. We're in the process, so the NQ should move higher. Now there's a little hitch in the giddy up right here. But if you can break through this, you got a wick sticking down, a wick sticking up. Put your crosshair right in the middle. That should be resistance, at least the first time up. But if we continue sideways consolidation, then the BBC is going to drop. All right, back to crude. Now, I covered all the other markets, guys, that I just breezed through in granular detail. So 10 minutes after I sign off, you can go to youtube.com/CFRN, and you can watch all of today's broadcast in its entirety. Or fast forward to whatever part you're interested in. So here's where we opened last night on crude. We're above the BBC, so we automatically anticipate higher prices. But the first obstacle was getting above red and falling, which we did on this candle right here. Then we had a leg and a retracement, pullback held, and then a leg that took us right up to the long target. And the long target was based off this high from yesterday, right there, that high. That was the long target. So we've gotten through the target, consolidated at the zone, then a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement. We got red and falling here, so I suspect this pullback may not hold. We may go back to the zone for support, possibly even the top side of the long target. These targets, all of our traders had these targets 5 minutes before the market opened last night, 5:55 p.m. Eastern. The Tuesday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. And the Wednesday session will begin tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Gold really getting whacked. It was looking so good. Look at the high we put in last night. We put in a high up at 47.83. And we dropped all the way down to 46.45. Now the step line has crossed red and falling, so retracement to the BBC. Now this pullback held, and that pullback held, and that pullback held. Will this one hold? You never know. But the important thing to know is that the pullback holds more often than not, but eventually it's going to trade through. And hopefully this time it will trade through. Silver, I guess not getting hit quite as hard as gold. I talked about this yesterday in detail. Gold is saved, silver is used. And there's a finite supply sewn up in the belly of the earth. You can read about it in Genesis. So here was the open last night, and by the second 30-minute candle, we had hit and exceeded the long target, which was based off simply where blue turned to red. Short target was based on this bullish cross. However, the market found support at the weekly trading zone. Now that's the highest weekly zone this week for silver right there, 89.30, and today's only Tuesday. So as we're climbing, we just took out this potential resistance, and then we got potential resistance right here. And then right here, the bearish cross, where the red line got below the green line. That is a really important spot. Call it 86.33. If we can take out this high, then we're going to run into that obstacle, and then that one, and then that one, and then that one, and then that one. So, good luck. And this is what the daily looks like. Now, this is a very unusual thing here. I showed you on all the individual markets how when the step line crosses blue and climbing or red and falling, that leads to a retracement to the BBC. Most of the time. This is very unusual. Step line crossed, we never got the pullback. We went on to make new all-time highs after new all-time highs after new all-time highs. So this retracement's long overdue, but as you can see, we're off the low of the day. We found support at blue and climbing and the black step line. When they get directly below price, they become potential support. We spiked it, but now we're just resting right on top of the black step line. If we take out the low of the day and the low of Friday, then right here where the step line, it crossed, and then it crossed back without price hitting the BBC. That's the part that's unusual. That's what makes that area stand out to me. Plus, you got a wick sticking up and a wick sticking down. So, definitely should be support there. If we trade through that support area, then we're most likely headed to the daily BBC or the 24% fib retracement. That's the shallowest possible fib retracement. To become a member, get a hold of Valerie, support@cfrn.net, or you can call her at 949-42-EMINI. If you call her, you'll probably get her voicemail, leave a message, she'll call you back. You just want to let her know that you're interested in becoming a member. She'll send you an info pack that explains it all. Once you become a member, you get 2 hours of live training every trading day. Now, there's a million people and places out there that'll sell you all kind of indicators, oscillators, bots, whatnots, algorithms. But what you're going to have a hard time finding is somebody that will actually teach you how to trade. We do that 2 hours every trading day. But that's just the live training room. We work around the clock. We provide support to our members via Telegram around the clock. 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. I know you bought the indicators and it came with an instructional PDF. But that is as different as night from day to actually have someone teaching you in real markets in real time with real money how the sausage is made. On top of the 2 hours of live training every trading day, as a member, you have access to private one-on-one mentoring. There's no extra charge for the private mentoring. All you got to do is ask. The strategy you learn, the indicators you use as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's just how markets work. As a passport holder, you'll get the Logic 247 alerts round the clock. Again, they're designed to help you learn how to read a chart. And this week, I already showed this, but I'll show it again. Last week we had 0 stop outs. Last week was week 405. We had 71 alerts issued, 24 never triggered, 47 actionable alerts, 0 stop outs. Yesterday, the beginning of week 406, 14 issued, 7 waiting, 7 actionable, 1 stop out, 14%. But today, now this was valid at the time Valerie did the recap. Now this is going to change because these 11 waiting were all short trades. So the fact that we've sold off as much as we have today, I'm guessing quite a few of those are going to trigger. Okay. But she'll update the recap and post it in the appropriate places this afternoon, as she does each and every day. So this week so far, since the market opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 28 alerts. At the time she did the recap this morning, we were waiting on 11. 17 actionable alerts, 1 stop out, 6%. So I think last week was a historic week. Over 7.5 years, I don't know that we ever finished the week without a single Logic 247 stop out. What we've averaged on a weekly basis over the last 406 weeks is 20% or less. So that 0% was just kind of a fluke. I guess it happens, obviously. All right, let's wrap it up with our good word for today. The whole world must hear God's word. Mark 16:15. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. In 1993, a group called AD 2000 United Prayer Track came up with an innovative idea. Now, that's an interesting name, AD 2000 United Prayer Track. I never heard of it. Anyway, they came up with an innovative idea to help realize their goal of a church for every people and the gospel for every person by AD 2000. They established a program called Praying Through the Window. The window referred to an area on the globe from 10 degrees to 40 degrees north of the equator. From North Africa and southern Spain eastward to Japan and the northern Philippines. Almost 3 billion people live in this area, where the most prominent religions are Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism. For the entire month of October 1993, and again in 1995, millions of Christians prayed for the people in the 1040 window. The goal was that new churches be established and new missionaries sent to these areas. In 1993 alone, the number of churches in Albania grew from 50 to more than 300. And the number of Christian fellowship groups formed in India rose from an average of 3 to 17 every day. If your world consists only of your loved ones, your job, and your church, ask God to open your eyes to the world beyond your world. Begin praying that He will move in these nations. Psalm 2:8 says, Ask of me, and I will give you the nations for your inheritance, and the ends of the earth for your possession. So you might say, can we realistically believe that the world will turn to Christ? Well, in Psalm 22:27 it says, all the ends of the world shall remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations shall worship before you. And that's our good word for today. I talked last week about, focusing on something greater than yourself. You're never more miserable when you're focused on you. You, your problems, your issues, your job, your bank account, your whatever. I'm telling you, when you get out of your head and start focusing your thoughts, your energies, your prayers, your activities on helping someone less fortunate than yourself, God has a way of just slipping in. And all those problems that you had, maybe they don't just instantly go away, but as you're looking at the grander scheme, God's grander picture, they lose their relevance. I'm telling you, if you've never been on a mission trip, go. I'm sure your church has a missions team. Unless it's a really small church, then maybe you could start a missions team at your church. Now, my wife and I, we've traveled quite a bit, and we never really did the guided tour thing. We always just wanted to go and experience everything on our own. When we went to Ecuador, we actually took some of the guided tours, and they were really, it gave us a different perspective. Instead of just seeing stuff, we got to hear the story behind it. So however you go on your missions trip, whether it's with a group or you're just winging it on your own, just do it. Okay, just do it. You'll come back. If you go to a third world country, you'll come back a person forever changed. I just can't stress it enough. Now, here's the rub, bub. The mission field, it doesn't have to be another continent or another country. Wherever you live right now, somebody on your street needs help. Maybe they need their lawn mowed. Maybe there's a single mom, and there's no positive male role model in that house. Now, I know this is a touchy subject with all the stuff that's going on today with all these sick, perverted pedophiles. But, maybe that young boy just needs somebody they can, play a game of catch with or throw the football. So, you don't approach strange kids you don't know. You don't approach them on the playground and, because that's going to be looked at. They're going to go, oh, that guy's weird. You're going to have to get to know the mother. So I know a lot of people, they say, well, I'd love to be a missionary. I'd love to, travel to go to these different. Start where you are. If God sees that you're faithful in the little things, and quite frankly, that single mom trying to raise a child, especially a boy, it's no easy task. So I hesitate to even call that a little thing. It's actually a big thing. You could literally change the course of that young man's life by simply being a positive male role model. It's just more challenging to do these days, again, because of all the perversion that exists in the world. So don't just put it off until you can save up enough money to go to Africa or go to Mexico or go to wherever it is God's put on your heart to go. Start where you are. Look around you. See who needs help. Some people just need somebody to talk to. And in simply talking to them, if they don't already have a relationship with God, the opportunity will present itself. That's where the Holy Spirit comes in. And the Holy Spirit will move. But you got to get up off the couch. You got to get the ball rolling. Too many people spend too much time sitting on the couch praying for all kinds of wonderful miracles. And the only time they get up is to get another drink or find the remote. Do something. If it's wrong, God will correct you. Okay? Don't stop trying. Just think about it. Not just today, but going forward, every day of your life. How can I help make somebody else's life just a little bit better? That kind of thinking led me and my wife to build an orphanage in Africa. Now, I know not everybody's going to build an orphanage, but you could do something very important wherever you are right now. Just got to open up your mind to that thinking. Plus, it'll give you a break from worrying over all your problems. And we all got problems. I don't care how much money you have. And everybody always says, oh, if I just had enough money, then I wouldn't have any problems. No. You'd have more problems. You'd have bigger problems. You will have bigger problems. Anyway, it's not about the money. It's about the time. It's about the commitment. It's about the condition of your heart. Okay? Find somebody that you can make their life a little better. Please. You'll thank me. Because your life will change. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.